Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, you guys know what time it is. It's time to predict the final major of the year. Going to be kicking it off with the compare this time instead of the Wordle. The Wordle is giving us issues. It's not opening today. So if you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. May have some new people joining us this week because, it's always an influx of engagements on Major Week because people are all checking out predictions, making fun of our predictions, roasting us for them. We haven't been as good this year, so we'll see if we can do better this time. We're going to do it once again instead of individuals. We're going to do it all together, voting, and then we'll all fill out our own brackets and see how we do because I'm sure we're going to differ on some picks. But, boys, we're going to kick it off with the compare. The Wordle is being weird for Brock and I. It's transferred to Breaking Point. I don't know if Brad tried to open
Yeah.
it, but it's transferred to Breaking Point and it is not opening. It won't start for me. So we'll see if we can get that squared away next week. We're just going to start with the compare and not do it at the end to warm us up to get ready to talk some CDL. So, boys, first question: which has a higher all-time Call of Duty esports LAN earnings in total, the Breach or the Ravens?
LAN earnings? Oh,
LAN earnings is interesting because I was about to
Hmm.
say Ravens because they had that top 4 at champs in MW19, but that was online.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But Ravens have been around so much longer. But I guess if they're just counting London,
Mhm.
London had a good
Very
placing in Vanguard. Remember, like at Major 1 or
it
2, they
made
had like a
I
top
think
3 or
Major
4.
1.
They had like a
But
Sunday
I
or
know
like a top 3 or top
Boston
4.
I think Boston had a top 3 as well in Vanguard in one of those majors.
Yeah, they did, the one we were at. Do you wanna
Yeah.
go
I think
Boston
it's
just 'cause they maybe had a
Boston.
I'm thinking Boston.
it's bad either way. It wasn't. I was gonna say Ravens, I should've went with it. It was Ravens by,
Oh,
150,000-ish. Darn. Which has a higher S&D KD ratio through Major 3, Beans or dude, it might be Kicks. He's the number 1 KD overall in the league.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
Kicks.
1.25 to 1.13. Which has a higher KD in their worst series all time. Dude, this feels like such a trick question. Because it should be Cammy, because Celium's like the most. We have to pick Cammy just out of principle. Celium's the highest floor player damn near ever.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't a trick. Wait, I picked Cammy on accident. It was right. I'm sorry.
Let's
An
go.
accidental answer. Which has a higher all-time win percentage against phase in the CDL as of February 2025, London/Carolina or LAG. So LAG has like a random win or two against them
Mhm.
online at like end of stages. I remember they also beat them in the final when we were there at Major 2 Vanguard, Brock.
Yeah. Is it
I
LAG?
don't. You think it's them?
I can't think of any Carolina wins over phase. Or Carolina
London
or
has a few.
Vanguard.
I think London's at like 30%. We saw this. We want to vote LAG?
I'm
Yeah.
down.
It was right. LAG 31.7 to 30.6%,
Oh, God.
which is a higher number of hardpoint hills, Zarqwa or Gridlock. How many does Zarqwa have? 5? Gridlock has the one in the middle. My God, I can't think of Gridlock rotations right now, Brock. Is it Showers second?
Middle is it shower?
Because it goes middle. There's a hard point here. There's a hard point in Showers, and there's a hard point by the 18 wheeler. I think it only has 4. Because does Zarqwa have 5?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Is
sure
it
it's Zarqwa.
middle
Yeah, it
then
is. It's 5 to
P2?
4. I was like, there's only 4 I can think of on grid. Like, I don't remember the rotation, but I remember they were.
Yeah.
Which is
What
a
game?
higher number of. What'd you say?
What game was Gridlock on?
BO4.
+4?
So
Oh.
has like the street in the middle with like the semi on the left side and the
Oh.
showers on the right side.
Yeah. I got you.
um, last one, which has a higher number of all-time S&D maps with 0 kills. I want to say it's Lamar. I remember so Lamar Donuts, I swear.
Lamar?
Shout out Lamar. It's not. 4 to 3 Zuma. All right, we went 4 for
Wow.
6. Probably that might be our worst
Zoomer?
performance all time.
I think we might have gotten 4. Yeah.
Because I mean, I accidentally got one right too, so it low key should have been 3. But we'll ignore
No,
that.
no, no. You knew that the whole time.
Accidental, subconscious being right. All right, we're gonna jump into quick. I pulled it up here. We got the standings. I want to talk about that quickly because this major was supposed to be promised, or this like split was supposed to be promised as the race for champs. You had Cloud9 maybe involved. You had Rocker kind of right there. OpTic was struggling. It's not looking great in terms of an entertaining race. We had a window this Sunday. We're going to talk about a few of the matches before we jump into the bracket. We had a window this Sunday, boys, where it could have gotten interesting if Rocker would have beaten Surge on Sunday. We would have gotten Rocker versus OpTic in winners round one.
That would have been electric.
That would have been electric, yeah, 100%.
It would have been 175 to 145 in points. You can see here it's 175 to 135 now. So Rocker down 40, which is also a massive, massive deal. And we'll show that in a second. But it would have been 175 to 145, and they were playing each other. Granted, still a very big uphill battle for Rocker. But if you look at how the teams earn points down here, you get 30 points for getting top six. So basically, you get 30 points for winning in winners round one. So if, let's say, Rocker were to have played OpTic and they had that win over Surge, because that's how they would have played OpTic, they'd be down 30 points here, 175 to 145. And a win would have put them at 175 plus 30 to tie OpTic. So then it would have been from there on out who makes it further. And it would have been really interesting. Can OpTic make a loser's run, win a match? Because then all of a sudden, if Rocker, gets double rounded and gets top six, they're only plus 30. If OpTic would have gotten a top eight, plus 15, OpTic makes it out. But it would have, if Rocker would have won, it would have been there for losers round one for OpTic to winners round two. Whoever places better, makes it through. So it would have been very, very, very interesting. But of course, we're in a spot where that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because we look, just to go over like the scenarios for people, champs, apart from that 8 seed, is locked up. Boston and up, all these teams are locked up. Obviously, you see the points. 6 and 7 separated by 20, 5 and 7 even only separated by 35. And then there's a big jump up to 4, but even 3 and 4 are separated by only 10 points apart. And then another big jump into the top 2 where they're only separated by 10. So there could be a lot of shifting in terms of the seeds for champs. But the top 7 are locked in, at least in terms of those guys will be at champs. It's just a matter of who will get that last spot between Rocker, OpTic, and Cloud9. So I'll get your thoughts on the scenarios, but just quickly for people, the scenarios are Rocker basically needs OpTic to get last, and then they need to get 4th place. They need to make it to Sunday. If OpTic are to get top 8, then Rocker has to get 3rd place. If
All task.
Yeah, if OpTic are to get to top 6, then Rocker needs to get all the way to 2nd place. If OpTic are to make it to Sunday and get a minimum of 4th, Rocker need to win the event.
Jesus.
And I think technically they might, if OpTic gets 3rd and Rocker wins, they might make it in on the tiebreaker, depending on map wins. I'm assuming they would have more map wins, just based on the fact that they won the tournament. Although it might come down to match wins actually is the first tiebreaker, so then they probably wouldn't. But basically, Rocker need to make Sunday no matter what. And if they make it to Sunday and OpTic gets last, they're in. There will be nothing to play for on Sunday in terms of champs. If OpTic gets top 12, I'm going to assume OpTic's not going to get top 12, but we'll talk about that when we see the bracket. OpTic does have a tough, losers round one matchup if they do lose. And there's a world where they get it, but that also requires Rocker to make Sunday, which looks extremely unlikely because their run's looking tough.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Brock?
Definitely gonna be. We don't root for Rocker, but likelihood is OpTic is not gonna go out top 12, and that's I don't see Rocker really making this huge run.
Yeah, I did. And Brad, thoughts? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming we'll save it. Maybe your exact thoughts for the bracket, but like, I was hoping it would be a little more entertaining. I was hoping they'd be down like 20, so it was like like you see here, it was like Rocker get a top 6, and OpTic get last. They're in. They don't have to make it all the way to Sunday, but like, or I was hoping they were down 10, so it was basically like one match they just outplace them by 1 spot and they're in. But
Yeah,
it's
no.
not looking like that.
I want to have faith in Minnesota so bad, but it's a Herculean task at this point,
Yeah.
I mean, everything's going to have to go right.
And we'll talk about it, but when we talk about the bracket, but they are basically like you watch them play and you see the individual skill they play with, and you're like, wow, this team should be so good. And then it comes to a point where they need to, like make a play to close out a game. Everything just crumbles.
Yep.
They just can't close. It's literally what it is. Talent, all there, can't close. Cloud9 is the other team that is still, Cloud9 is the team that's still in the race technically. I mean, they are alive based on the math. Pretty unlikely, especially with them having to play phase. But Cloud9 have an interesting spot based on where they are in the bracket because obviously the team they are chasing, OpTic, um, there's a situation where if Cloud9 somehow pulls off an upset and winners round one over phase, they would potentially play OpTic in winners round two. So
Mhm.
we'll kind of talk about that scenario there in terms of making it when we get to the bracket. But there's a situation where they could help themselves and play OpTic, or even if they both lose in winners round one, Cloud9 goes down to play LAG, OpTic would go down to play Ravens. If they both win, they play each other. So in that world, if Cloud9 knocks out OpTic in top 8, OpTic would get up to 190. And so then Cloud9 would need what? 80 point or what are they at 125? So yeah, they would need 75 points to tie them. Um no, 65 points to tie them because they're at 125, which would be a second place. So
Yeah.
60 doesn't
That's
get in there.
also a tall
So
task.
Yeah.
yeah, so Cloud9 needs a OpTic. If OpTic gets last, Cloud9's 60 points would put them ahead. So Cloud9 would need a third. So basically, in order to make champs, at a bare minimum, Cloud9 needs a third. So they need to make
Mhm.
losers finals at an absolute bare minimum. And that's if OpTic loses both matches and gets a last place. Um, then, in other words, if OpTic are to win, and get into top 8, Cloud9 would need to get second. If OpTic are to make it into top 6, Cloud9 would need to win the event. So Cloud9, as much of a long shot as Rocker looks like, Cloud9 is somehow, way, way further, even though they're only
Farther.
down 10 more points.
Yeah. Man, it's just,
But yeah,
tough for these teams that are trying to get in.
Yeah.
a synopsis of this though is I think we should all non-OpTic fans should all be hoping, and fans of chaos should all be hoping OpTic gets last place. Because then
Mm.
there's a world where you at least can be like every match that Rocker Cloud9 play, like each win, it could be like, oh my god, like one win closer, one win closer.
Yep.
But it's looking tough. Uh,
Mhm.
and with that said, I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna pull the bracket up on the screen here. We'll get into this in just a second here. The other thing I want to talk about is some of the matches from this weekend. Obviously, like online matches are over, boys. It's crazy to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
it sounds insane, but online matches are over. There are some from this weekend. Like you look at Friday's matches. I didn't think we were going to talk about it because we said we're kind of done talking about their matches. But LAG beat OpTic uh,
Definitely surprised.
in
Yeah.
a 3-2 fashion, and I didn't think that if they won, it would be through 2 hard points either. And with that said, though, LAG, I think after this match, they ended up losing the hard point in their last match, but I think they finished 5-3, I believe, in hardpoint. They were 5-2 after this OpTic series. They've been a sneaky good hardpoint team in this split.
Mhm. Sure have.
So maybe they can cause an upset against like a Cloud9 if Cloud9 falls onto them and loses to phase. But a weird series from OpTic because even in the respawns, like they were outslaying for the most part and looked really
Mhm.
good. They just like they blew the skyline. They're up 194 to 49. They look good and just mess up some rotations, mess up some setups, and just lose with Johnny going crazy. And then in the map 4, they just absolutely blew it. I mean, they were up 214 to 123. It was basically over. And like it happens on Rewind, though, you chain that P3 to P4, and that's
Yep.
exactly what they did. They chained that P3 to P4 on the side of LAG, and all of a sudden they're back in the game, and they finish it out on a P1, and LAG forced a game 5, and from there on, they just kind of had the momentum after winning that crazy map. Shottzyy shot Kismet's body, and Kismet went crazy. I mean, it's one thing we've learned over the history of the last few years, at least: don't shoot Kismet's body.
No.
Yeah. Just in general, don't shoot bodies.
It never seems to work out that well, and that's probably because you only hear the stories of when somebody's body gets shot and they lose. Nobody talks about when you shoot bodies and you win.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, I mean, thoughts on this one, Brad? I guess you can go first if you have anything, but it would look a lot different if OpTic didn't have another match because this team is just so confusing. Like we went into the weekend and we were like, well, OpTic's got a guaranteed 10 points to help them for the champs race. They're going to
Mhm.
beat LAG and then they play Ultra. They could win, but tough match there. So we're just like, yeah, guaranteed 10. It'll be nice for OpTic. to get this win over LAG. You know, they came out of the weekend with 10 points, just
Mhm.
not at all in the fashion we expected.
No, not at all.
Mm,
I do think it's kind of funny that it is very like I feel like OpTic this year as far as like we expect them to win this one, they don't, and then they 3-0 Toronto. Like I just feel like it's very OpTic this year. I think it's kind of
Yeah.
funny.
It's also optic as of late because like with Merc, like before it was like the wins like against teams like Ultra were not happening at all.
Mm-mm.
It was all lows and there wasn't much highs and there were no really good wins happening at all. And then now it's like you're losing to teams like a Boston and an LAG this split, but then you're beating an Ultra team, and it's like, where is this coming from? Like you're losing to LAG, who's a bottom two team right now,
Yeah.
and even in the LAG series though, they looked pretty good in terms of just like kills and everything, and then it was like they reverted for little stretches of the map, and it cost them the map. And I don't know, they're still a dark horse at this event, but they're just really weird. Like them just having these matches where they just lose to an LAG is just concerning.
it's almost like they think that they're not really like giving the team credit that's playing against them,
Mhm.
that they're good enough to win
Yeah, it was like
in
they
these
saw the
situations.
guns. Yeah, it was like they saw their guns getting hot and they were kind of rolling them, and they just like kind of got careless. Like
Yeah, slow down.
it's not comparable, but like in a way, it's like when we're playing ranked and we were like playing a hard point and we're up like 180 to 30, and like you're way better than the team, but like you kind of stop calming as hard. You kind of stop like, being like fully laser focused, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, we were up 180 to 30. Now it's like 200 to 130. They're on a little bit of a run. And then
Yep.
it's like you gotta just like kind of lock back in. It's almost like optic have that in them. It's like they're like kind of rolling them. They kind of lose their discipline and their fundamentals a little bit, and like
Yeah.
they let the team back in. The difference is, in rank play, you can just turn it back on because you're probably just better. If you let a pro team get hot, even though LAG are not a good team, they still have fellow Kismet veterans. Johnny Lunars are talented young players. Like they still have, those guys in the team where it's like they can win a map. Like these guys can get hot, and if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And like
Yep.
I don't know, just looking at the box score too of the series is so crazy. If you would have told me the ARs for LAG were gonna drop point sevens, I'd have been like, oh,
Yeah.
nice optic 3-0, right?
Hmm.
You think?
But just absurd. The box scores make no sense because also the box scores would tell me Neslo, right?
Hmm.
Yep.
But they lost two hard points. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah, it literally should have been a 3-0 if didn't trail first map.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, shoot, if optic if they would have lost to Toronto, we would have had some major questions about them
Hmm.
because they would have been, only up 30 on Rocker, and it would have been major questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do
I don't
you
know.
think?
It just seems like they're more locked in when they play the better teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like sometimes you can be like, okay, whatever, like acceptable, but like your lives are on the line for champs, and you have a freebie handed to you of LAG. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to be locked in now. Like you have a new roster working on getting ready for Major Four and champs and EWC. Like if you're not going to be locked in now, when are you going to be locked in?
100%.
Yeah. You gotta
Like
beat up on the bad teams like FaZe always does and
yeah,
Thieves.
at some point you've got to be like, you can only use the, oh, it was they played down to their competition excuse so many times because like, yeah, maybe early in the year when you're a top three team and you just kind of you don't come as prepared as you should. But like, I mean, my God, it's the final online match of the year, the final online weekend of the year, and like, you are not guaranteed to be at champs. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean?
Fighting for your spot still. It's like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, like let's get it together.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll talk more about Optic in the bracket. I guess, one of the other important matches of the weekend was Minnesota keeping their slim champs hopes alive with a big win over Royal Ravens. This win propelled them to at least stay in the winner's side of the bracket, which once again, Minnesota very unlikely to make champs. But I mean, if they would have lost this, they'd be down in losers. They're not making it. So this was a huge win to kind of fight off Ravens, keep them down in losers. Um, it was a good series from the trio
Hmm.
outside Kenny for once with his team since he's been on the team. Um, a really good series overall from Carolina. I mean, or sorry, from Rocker. They win the final three maps. They lose map one, close one on red card.
That was
I thought it was
insane.
gonna. I thought it was gonna be the same thing again. Truly, like they're up or they're down 209 to 165 after
Hmm.
being up 142 to 84.
Hmm.
earlier in the map, and it's like, okay, it's coming out of the wire, coming out of the wire, close map, and of course Minnesota, lose it by 10 points at the end, like the
And
classic Minnesota, and they trolled it too on that stage hill.
yeah, they had full control, and they just get pieced. And
Yeah,
he's just, I mean, a complete and utter collapse
and they
on
had
that
a
stage hard point.
they had, if I remember it right, they had Carolina spawning at old too. Didn't they have them spawning back P3?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like full control of the stage hill, and they just blow it.
Mhm.
And it's just like you see that, and with the history of this Minnesota team, you're like, oh, they blew another hard point. I mean, they had that one. They had, like you said, they had stage hill full setup. They're your pro team. You only need whatever they needed, 20 points. Like
Yeah.
you have full setup off the rip of that hill. You need 20. The other team needs 9. At the very least, you need to at least force it to be mixy enough to go to a next hill. Like, and that's a pretty easy hill to watch because like when you're crossing to that hill, it's pretty open. Like you can't really like
Hmm.
sneak through.
Yeah,
Like when
unless
you're
you got
crossing to that
God
stage hill on
timing.
red card, yeah, you can't. It's pretty easy to see. Like unless you get an absolute god timing somehow when somebody's weak, they back out and you like sneak through.
Yeah.
Pretty damn impossible. But anyways, then Rocker for once show a little bit of composure.
Yeah.
They end up winning the search and destroy in a round 11. GL 1v2.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Wasn't there
1v2.
multiple 1v3s on that one?
I think so if I'm thinking of the right map, but I know it ended in the GO 1v2 and it was
Yeah.
a slasher scam.
Yeah.
They had the bomb planted over on A side. Wait, am I thinking that right? A side on Hacienda, right?
Yeah. By
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fences. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't think if that was A or B for a second. Yeah, on A site, they had the bomb down, and
Mhm.
Geo's top mid slasher just runs out middle U for some reason, scams, and then he meets TJ also hopping up, coming into like top windows, um, over kind of on like the platform balcony side, and they clutch that. They end up winning the control. After being down 2-1 in that one, and then they win the Skyline, where that's like the one map Rockers seem to be successful on with the roster change, and they keep their hopes alive.
Yep. Great,
Last match of
great,
Friday. What are you
great
gonna say?
win. Great win. Any win counts at this point.
Yeah,
For sure.
anyone
How
to keep
you
them
do it?
alive. I mean, because you see how big the 10 points are. Like Rocker's path to champs is extremely unlikely and probably not going to happen. But like them needing a top 4 just to make it to Sunday, and OpTic getting double rounded is just that much more likely than needing to get third and OpTic getting double rounded like
Hmm.
Cloud9 has to. That's the difference, is like instead of needing third and OpTic getting double rounded, they need a fourth. They just need to
Yeah.
finish that one less place ahead of OpTic, which still, once again, very unlikely, but it's a little easier at least.
Yeah.
Uh, the last match Friday, I mean, Thieves 3-0 Boston, not too much to speak on there. Same thing with the first match on Saturday, a phase 3-0 over Falcons. Then it was a 3-0 for Thieves over Cloud9, and then Miami 3-0'd Royal Ravens to go to 5-0. I guess last match, Surge kind of ice up against the side of Toronto Ultra after that map won, and I mean Surge kind of back on track. Good to see from them. Um, Ultra go 0-2 on the weekend, and I guess they get dominated, overall by Surge. But the more important thing, we're gonna skip the LAG Boston match for the love of God. I don't want to talk about that. Which once again, LAG, you get 3-0 by Boston after beating OpTic. It just makes no sense.
Makes sense, right?
People are talking though about the Merc and Bean switch with OpTic 3-0ing Ultra, um, in a pretty dominant fashion as well. The map one could have gone either way, but just a 3-0. You look at red carpet across the board for Toronto. Um, shottzyy and huke. It was the sub duo really for OpTic that were popping off on that map one. Huke was going crazy. He finished 41 and
Yeah.
27. He had a really big pinch to win the game around P1. Basically,
Hmm.
that won them the game. Everybody was kind of distracted, looking one way. Huke set up a pinch, got a kill, made everybody turn, and that helped them break the hill to win the game. I guess thoughts on this one? The debate going on. Should they have kept Mercules? Hindsight 2020 kind of thing.
Yeah. Hindsight 2020. I mean,
Yeah.
Beans helped you have a very successful year. I mean, I think they would have been crazy for dropping Beans. Honestly.
I mean,
It's
it's tough because knowing what we know now, it's like, man, you had like a potential young talent that like looks like he could be a superstar in Merc. So like knowing what we know now, it's pretty easy to be like, yeah, you should have kept Merc.
yeah.
Um,
It's
and I
also
can
like
also see the argument like you could have kept Merc for sure, but you were so good with Beans and consistently making Sundays. So like I also get why they kept him. It's tough.
Yeah, it's not like Beans was playing bad as at all either. Just it's just like a tough situation, and like you said, hindsight 2020.
And like also like how quickly it could change. Like they play each other in winners round one. You can see it here on the screen. Like
Hmm.
it's OpTic Ultra winners round one. What if Beans comes out, drops a 1.2, and Ultra wins 3-0 on LAN?
Yeah.
They outplace OpTic again, and it's like, okay. Like they make another Sunday, and it's like, okay, like we made Sunday damn near every tournament. 3 out of the 4 tournaments, all besides major one. Like, I don't know. It's tough to say, like, because who knows? Maybe Merc is having a really good run, and all of a sudden he's gonna kind of tail off. I don't think so, but you never know. Like it's really hard in the moment to make that decision because like we said, we've seen it with Spark before. Like
Yeah.
dude came in, won an event, and then really from there on out didn't really play all that well, and the team sucked. Like
Yep.
just because you have one great run and like catch teams off guard potentially doesn't mean that it's gonna work. Now, as we can see, it looks like for Merc, it's gonna be a pretty consistent thing, and he's gonna be a really good player. But like you never know. Like there have been plenty of players that have had really good runs at a tournament, and overall the career doesn't go that well. Adam
Hmm.
Assault has a champs MVP, and it's his only event win. Like
Yeah, he does.
he has 0 event wins outside of winning champs, and he's it's crazy. It's like wow, he's a champs MVP. Like what other events did he win? And it's like none. He didn't win a single other event.
It's very
It's like
typical.
it's a crazy
Yeah,
stat. Like you have, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna win one tournament, might as well make a champs and win an MVP. But like
100%.
I can see both sides of it. I can see people being like, it was so obvious you should have kept Merc because you could see the talent, and I can also see the people saying like, well, you were third or fourth in the standings or whatever, and like been pretty consistently a top 4 team all year with Bean. So it's hard to just like make that switch after one weekend. I get both sides of it. I don't really feel strongly either way. I don't know if you guys feel differently.
No, I've had feel
Nah,
the
I
same
don't.
way. It just I don't know. You just can't do that to Beans after he's been playing good like that for that one
Yeah.
weekend.
It's tough. It's just such a tough situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last match on Sunday was an important one, so we'll just touch on it quickly. Because Rocker could have made it really interesting. Like, they win this, they keep it within 30 points with OpTic winning right before them. And also, like we said earlier, if they win this, they get to play OpTic in winners round one. So they get to control. Like, that's the dream. You make
Yep.
winners, you gain 10 points, you get to play OpTic who you're chasing. So you literally get to control your own destiny. You don't have to rely on somebody else. That's the perfect thing. It's like it always sucks in sports when your fate is in somebody else's hands to make the playoffs or whatever. Like you'd rather just have it in your hands so you can just take care of it and be done with it.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
and Rocker had the chance. Like now obviously if they beat OpTic, they're not guaranteed to be in champs, but it makes it a lot easier. Like you can knock them down to losers, guarantee they're in losers, and Rocker had a chance here. They lose the map one. And I mean, at one point there was like Kenny was like 22 and 22, and everybody else on his team was like double negative. In the map one, they just were not shooting back, and then it all tailed off, and the whole team just kind of got fried. Map one, map two, Kenny's KD, the only one on the year, Infinity, 11 and 0,
Typical.
Oh, I
and
love to
they
see
win that
that.
6-0, and then the Rocker, they did the typical Rocker. They're up 2-0 on the protocol
Yep.
control. They blow 3 straight rounds, and then from there on, they blow the red card hard point. Um, Basically, Surge led wire to wire, and Rocker were just like consistently down just a little bit. They made it a little closer, and then they
Mhm.
ended up blowing it. Um, but just classic Rocker. They got beat map one. Is what it is. Dominate the search. All of a sudden, come out of dominating a search. You're up 2-0. It's like, all right, we're gonna go up 2-1. All you gotta do is close out one more map. And nope, they get reverse flipped in the control, and then beat in the red card hard point. It was the ARs for Minnesota that played pretty well. Kenny was definitely the best player on Rocker in this series. Geo had an overall pretty decent series. It was the subs though. Estrio with a .66, Near with a .82, and they were pretty non-existent overall on the map for the most part. Just like especially in the respawns, they really struggled. The subs for Minnesota, it's like they have a chance to close out games and they just can't do it.
Yep. Don't get the clutch factor, and they won the offense first on protocol control, and then kind of they spawn trapped in the second round, and then after that everything reverse swept.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
not too much else to say there. They just like, I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Rocker
More
just
than
they
you.
can't. I mean, close out that series. Close out one more game 5. You're down 20 points. Like it's enough said about Rocker. They just can't close out. That's just what it is. That team just can't close out. There are changes that are going to have to be made in the offseason. If I'm Rocker, I'm picking maybe one of the subs, or maybe just keeping the AR duo and finding new subs. But at the same time, it's like it's so hard because like on paper the team is so talented and they like, and when you watch them play, it's like man, Estriel and Nero like they can be
Oh,
really good players. Like they have pop off moments. Geo pop off moments. We know what Kenny brings, but it's just like I don't know. They couldn't win with Paul. They can't win with Kenny, and it's like that trio. Just something about them. They just don't have ice, and they just don't close out games. And just it's weird because I feel like if those 3 players split up and get like put onto different teams, they could all be on really good teams because they're all like good players in a lot of
Yeah.
aspects. They just together can't close out for some reason.
yeah.
I think I think what Kenny and Gio needs, they should just go out and get Simp and Abizi.
Yeah, if only it were that easy.
Wish
Can
you
you
were that
imagine?
easy.
Imagine Snipping it easy. They've been playing with Stallion for so long. You know what you'd have to do to pry them away? There's probably one team that could pry them away. That's Vegas Falcons. Hey, we'll give you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
2 million a year. Come over and play. I mean, I'd sign that right away.
Who
Yeah.
wouldn't really?
All right, you boys ready to do the bracket?
Let's do it.
I think I'm
Forgot to
ready. Yeah.
post. Forgot to post last time. This time I'm gonna need screenshots uh, of your brackets. Maybe I'll post those on Twitter. I'll probably wait till like
Okay.
day of the tournament. Also, this doesn't mean as much for Brad because Brad is a little bit like of a newer viewer to the COD scene. Not like brand new, but maybe not as much history watching Brock this weekend. It's gonna feel like OG times a little bit.
It is.
Also, Brock, I was literally talking. I was talking to my girlfriend today, and I was like, I might have to leave this weekend. I might have to see if the boys want to just take a last minute flight down to Dallas because I'm getting so jealous of the people going to this tournament.
I'm ready.
Like, dude, CS:GO, Halo, GeoGuessr's in the freaking building. I think is Rocket League there. I forget. Like, I'm gonna look up the list of the games at DreamHack, but like, just for me personally, like even I know for you, Brock, like in terms of esports, like besides Call of Duty, you don't watch a lot. I'm the same way, Brad. I think you're pretty much the same way too.
Yeah.
Um, but like if I'm walking by and there's a Halo match on, I played Halo growing up all the time. Like I'm gonna go watch that. If there's a CS match, like generally I know what's going on at CS. Like I'm gonna go check out that match. You know what I mean? Like that'd be so fun to be in the building. If there's no COD match on at the time and I'm walking by Halo and there's a match on, I'm gonna watch that.
World
Yeah.
Series or Warzone? Anybody?
Is that there?
I have no idea.
I'm trying
That's
to
the
look
only
at
other esport I watch.
I'm trying to look at the DreamHack games here. The esports. So there's Call of Duty League Major for Brawl Stars. There's a CS2, there's a chess, a StarCraft, GeoGuessr, Halo, Overwatch 2 Stadium Showdown. I don't know what that is. Overwatch 2 Stadium Showdown. A creator tournament, it sounds like. So I mean,
Sounds
I like Overwatch, something kind of fun there. But anyways, like
sounds
just going
lit.
around watching Halo, watching CS2, like all that would be so fun. And also, Brock, the thing that makes it not only does that make it feel like OG, but we're gonna have an Alpha and a Bravo stream.
I
That
Like
is
remember
throw
them
2
bad
matches on
boys.
really
at
nice.
yeah. Throw on the 2 matches at once. I'm gonna have the 2 monitors up. Throw on 1 match. I think like OpTic and FaZe play at the same time. So I'm like so jealous. I'm like, damn, dude, I want to like look at flights down to Dallas, buy a last minute ticket, and just pull up the DreamHack. It's gonna be so fun. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to be like held back to not just buy a last minute plane ticket, just fly down there for the weekend.
Man, oh yeah, if it was in Chicago.
Oh, if it was in Chicago, we would have been there.
Man,
Yeah,
if only
yeah,
it was in
definitely.
Indy.
Literally anywhere Midwest drivable for sure. Like
Yeah.
who knows? All of a sudden, you guys will see me tweet something that I'm down in Dallas or something because I want to go so bad. But anyways, I'm excited. Just the Alpha Bravo stream, watching 2 matches at once. It's just gonna feel like the old days when like, dude, I remember the old days. When I like didn't have like I didn't have a PC or setup. I was pretty young. I remember like BO3, not having a PC or anything. I'd have like the TV on, like a smart TV on one, and I'd have a match up, and then I'd have like on my phone another match. Then on my Xbox, I'd have another match, and I'd have them all up.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like, remember there was always the Delta stream, and it was like if you got relegated to Delta, there was no casters.
Yep.
A lot of the
Yep.
time, it was just like the game sound only.
Yep.
Like, man, just having the Elf on the Bravo stream gonna bring back memories. I think we're probably gonna get a bunch of people together and watch Sunday. It's gonna be fun.
Hell
But
yeah.
we're doing the bracket. We're voting. And at the top of the bracket, we've got Miami and we've got Minnesota, boys. What are we thinking there? I mean, if you're Minnesota, you obviously need to get to Sunday at a very bare minimum in order to potentially make champs. And I'll be honest, like I know Miami went 5-0 in this split and they look really good. And Miami are great. I'm not discounting them at all. But like if you're Minnesota, you're kind of happy it's not Thieves or Face sitting there waiting for you when you're the 8
Mhm.
seed, right?
Yeah. I would.
No.
They definitely have a more of a chance now than
I forgot.
Phaser
Brad
Thieves.
loves them. Yeah. I forgot Brad loves them. But like without your bias and play for Miami, like you're pretty happy you're seeing Miami here and not Thieves or Face
Not
if you're
phase.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Thieves are the defending champs. They've looked awesome all year. Phase, it's Phase on land. Like, do they have their hiccups? Yeah, they had their hiccup last major, but like it basically never happens that Phase messes it up.
Yeah.
Uh, is there a world where Rocker can potentially get this done? I would say, like,
Yes.
the team on paper, I'd say, yeah, they can get it done.
Mhm.
But the team I've seen playing the actual matches, like the team overall, it's hard to say like their full year splits, but like, I mean, I don't know how we can say this team. I feel like this team has to just like make the map set weird. Like try to somehow get maps in that like what is Miami's vetoes here in Hardpoint? Like they have a pretty split veto. Um, I would say like I don't know. Try to see if you can get them on Skyline. I have a feeling that
Mhm.
Heretics are potentially going to veto Skyline, but like if you're Rocker, it's like the one map you have like a decent amount of wins on and seem pretty good on with the new roster. And like Vault, like try to get Skyline and Vault HP in the set somehow and like make it mixy. But like the way Heretics look right now, I just don't think. I hope Minnesota wins because it's going to make the champs race way more interesting. But I just can't see how you could pick them.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that
Yeah.
same
No.
boat from what I've seen. How they crumble so much.
Yeah.
It's
Like
it's pretty impossible to pick against them.
yeah.
I'm putting Heretics ahead. Are we? It doesn't matter because I think we at least have two. But are we unanimous on Heretics?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As much
I
as
get
I want
mine.
to say Rocker, I can't. I mean, Miami's really good. I feel like you're right. If they were to beat anybody out of like Thieves, FaZe, or Miami, you definitely want to face Miami. But I mean, Miami is definitely no pushover, and Minnesota has no ice.
I mean, Miami's 5-0 for a reason in this. Like
Yeah.
they're 5-0
Mhm.
in the split. They're a very good team. None of us are. I don't think any of us are discounting that. Like we all think Miami is. I mean,
Yep.
right now they're better than. I'm still on the Ultra train over them if it came down to it. But like right now they're playing better than Ultra. Um, and overall, like Miami are awesome right now. But still, like even with Miami going 5-0, like if you were to tell any like true CDL fan that's watching like all the time, if you were to tell them, hey, Sunday in winners finals, it's going to be FaZe versus Miami, or grand finals time, even though they can't play in winners finals, like hey, it's Thieves Heretics, like gun to your head, I think everybody is picking Miami to lose that match just in general.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like it's just so hard. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to just believe like, hey, Miami is just they're the better team and that's just how it's going to go. Especially like their online split, they did beat Thieves, but like their last four wins were a 3-2 against LAG, a 3-1 against Falcons, a 3-1 against Cloud9, and a 3-0 against Ravens. So like the LA Thieves win, awesome, super went crazy in the search. But after that, you beat LAG and Falcons, the bottom two teams. Cloud9, who's on the outside looking in for champs, and Ravens, who have been ice cold. So you beat three teams that aren't going to make champs, and then like an ice cold Ravens team.
Mhm.
So once again, it sounds like I'm trying to discount them. I'm not, but like strength of schedule, they didn't really beat anybody after the first week in beating Thieves. And just, I mean, based on what we all know in eye test, like I'd rather play them than Thieves or face my life
Yeah.
on the
You're just a hater.
line. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I would.
Uh,
Yeah. I would definitely want to play Miami over Thieves or Faith any day of the
Yeah.
week.
100 times out of 100. I don't even need to know the context of how the teams are playing at the moment. Like I'm taking them all day.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect. Like I said, Miami, probably are going to make it to Sunday this tournament. They're really good. They're a legitimate contender in this tournament
Yep.
to make a run and make Sunday. I just like push comes to shove, like they're a more beatable team than LAT or FaZe. Like there's a reason LAT or FaZe are the only two teams that have won a tournament this year.
Yep.
And speaking of LAT, they play a banger match against the Surge. Um, Vancouver Surge made back-to-back finals, haven't won a map in those finals, but they've been to back-to-back finals. Do we think that they pull off the win here against LA Thieves, continue their trend, and try to make another final, or we think LAT is going to get this one done?
I think LAT is gonna win in game 5 close.
Close. I mean, I feel like this series just is. It's Vancouver playing FaZe and Thieves has just overall been a pretty good banger for a lot of since Neptune, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Brad, are you leaning Thieves as well?
Yeah, I have Thieves in a 3-2 as well.
Okay, I mean, obviously, in terms of voting for our bracket as a podcast, it doesn't matter for me. I think we'll post our official brackets. I'm actually torn, and my decision doesn't matter as much. I'm gonna say for now, I'm leaning towards Thieves as well. But I don't know. Like, everybody, including us, including the public, it feels like we just keep discounting Surge at
Mhm.
every turn, and it's like they've been to back finals, man. It's just hard to like. I don't know, like, they have something about them when they hit land, like, they looked like they were stumbling a little bit this stage, but they kinda bounced back, and I don't know. I definitely don't think it's gonna be an easy win for Thieves. I
No,
think that this could be a close match. I expect this one to be a really good one.
Yeah.
no, I agree.
The next match, though, we got FaZe, we got Cloud9. I mean,
Any Cloud9 people?
no. Well, but once again, like, we were just talking about FaZe, like, they haven't been as dominant lately. Once again, still probably the last team I want to play no matter what, just because I mean it's simple and easy at selling. They make like every Sunday guaranteed, basically every final guaranteed.
Mhm.
And they did lose to Cloud9 online in this stage. Cloud9 beat them 3-1. Um, other than that, though, they beat Vancouver, they beat Thieves, and they beat our bottom two teams in LAG in Vegas. Like FaZe have looked a little shakier in hardpoint overall. Uh,
Mhm.
like I don't know, like it's tough to just like say Cloud9 have any chance in the series because they probably don't. But like, I don't know. The thing that I'm pulling out for hope is Cloud9 has looked. I think you can argue they've looked better since the roster change. They're obviously fighting for their lives at champs. Um, and they did beat FaZe in 2 hard points. Like the recipe for them is they hope FaZe continues to keep struggling in hardpoint. They've got to take a hardpoint off them, and then
Mhm.
honestly, you're probably looking at winning like 2 hardpoints in a search to me. I just don't think. I mean, they beat him in control online. Maybe I think you're gonna have to win 2 respawns in like a game 5 because I don't think you're gonna be able to take 2 searches off the off phase.
Definitely not.
I think
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be like
Do the hard points.
I think it's gonna have. It's weird as that sounds, like you're gonna have to beat phase through hard points, but
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I think it's gonna have to be like you're gonna have to take 2 respawns. I don't know if it's both hard points, but I think you're gonna have to take 2 respawns. And not you're not gonna be able to do it through 2 searches, in my opinion. Like, what is phase's record on the year in search? 36-17. I mean, obviously their record and everything, 43-27 in hardpoint, 29-13. They're obviously incredible in everything. That's why they have 2 event wins. Um, but man,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. It's gonna have to be through 2 respawns, in my opinion. I just don't think they get it done. I think like they can make the series close and play some decent maps, but like I'm going phase unless I'm gonna move them on unless you two are both picking Cloud9.
No,
I
I'm
am
phased.
picking FaZe. It's weird to think about that FaZe is just struggling in hardpoint with the
Yeah.
And they haven't even
roster
been
they
like
have.
they haven't been like terrible, but like they just haven't been like themselves where like they're just completely dominant.
Yeah.
All right, so we move Cloud9 down, and then we've got OpTic Ultra. I would say along honestly, like I love every matchup in the first round because like Rocker are fighting for their lives. So obviously, regardless of with whether we think that match is going to be close, like Rocker are playing for their lives in that match. So it's going to be fun. LAT Surge should be a banger. FaZe Cloud9, same thing. Like FaZe should win that one, but like Cloud9 are playing for their lives. So it could be fun. This is another one I feel like is kind of with that LAT and Surge. OpTic versus Ultra. We just saw OpTic 3-0 him. Merc versus Beans. Uh, OpTic obviously like a win here. A win for OpTic here. I feel like if OpTic wins this, they're in champs. Like a top 6.
Mhm.
Because I mean, what is it? What do we say? If OpTic gets a top 6, then what is Cloud9 damn near need to like win the event, right?
Yeah. And I think Minnesota needs a second place.
If
They get top
OpTic get
6.
into top 6, they'd be at 205. So Rocker would need, yeah, Rocker would literally, if OpTic gets top 6 and just bows out, Rocker would need second to tie them, first to outright take the lead. I don't think Rocker would get a tiebreaker. So yeah, if OpTic wins this, Rocker needs to win the event, as does Minnesota. So like an OpTic win here basically seals them champs. Like,
Yep.
unless somehow Rocker or Cloud9 win the event. So yeah, basically a Rocker or an OpTic win here seals them the event. So a huge match for OpTic. That said, Brad, we'll start with you. Do you think OpTic is able to get it done like they were online? They're so hard to predict. Like they could come
They
out in
really
3-0
are.
or they could look like they did against LAG and they might just lose right away again. What do you think? We'll start with you, Brad.
You want my honest opinion?
Nope.
OpTic
Yes,
3-1, and the one map that Toronto wins is a vault control.
I mean, OpTic have looked shaky on vault control for most of the year. They look that. With that said, though, that is kind of a misleading fact there, though, because what did I see the stat with Merc? They've lost 2 rounds of control.
Yeah.
I believe it is. I mean, Merc has been awesome in control. What are his numbers? I want to sort here. I'm gonna have a leaderboard up here. I'm gonna filter. I want to filter player stats. Brock, we'll
First
get your thoughts on the
control.
series. While I sort this, we'll get your thoughts on the series.
My thoughts are, when it comes to land, some people, they don't play up to the potential.
Hmm.
And for that, some of the people on OpTic say, don't always play to the full potential on land. And for that, I'm picking Ultra in the game 5.
Okay. So with what I was saying, how I like they've been so much better in control since picking up Merc. This does not include Major 3 where he played with Ultra, just in his 4 qualifier matches for OpTic. Brock, what do you think Merc's KD is in his 4 matches in just control for OpTic?
I would probably say like at least a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 around there.
Okay, Brad, what do you think?
Like a 104, 1.04.
I
It's
think they're frying.
1.73.
Oh my lord!
In 4 maps of control, 1.73. Second place on the stage is tie between Selim and shottzyy at a 1.34. So he's 0.4 higher than any other player.
Nuts.
Because he did have that
Oh
one map where he was like
my!
almost a 3. He was like 30 and whatever. He was like 30 something and like it was like 10, 11, 12 deaths or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
In terms of engagements per 10, he's right up there, number 5, basically tied with Envoy. In terms of damage per 10, he's number 1. Kills per 10, number 1. Like, just dude's been like just absolutely frying in control, and he's been a huge reason for the improvement in OpTic's control. Oh man, so you guys split, right? Brad, you went OpTic
Yeah, I
and
went OpTic.
Brock went. I like there's just something about like the OpTic logo used to be like something I'd see and I'd be like, I got faith in them. Like they're gonna get it done. I feel like I kind of want to root for chaos. I know OpTic just 3-0 Ultra. Brock said it, like OpTic on land this year, and a lot of times, with this kind of core of players have really struggled. Huke on land has historically really struggled as well. Uh, he has one win on land, and it was an absolute Cinderella run with LAG in Vanguard.
It was.
For that reason, I am going to go with Ultra as well. This is the least confident I feel about any round 1 pick, I will say, though. I don't necessarily feel
Yeah.
like amazing with the Thieves Surge one because Surge have been so good overall on land, but like this match is a toss up, and I think Brad could absolutely be right that it's OpTic.
Mhm.
We're moving Ultra on because I'm gonna side with Brock in this one and go Ultra. But I this is the point where you could really screw up your bracket. And also, I'm not gonna lie, even though Brad picked OpTic, I think he would agree that he wants the root for the chaos and wants OpTic to
Yeah,
lose here as well.
100%. You
Because
got.
We
I
always
mean,
want,
chaos
we
is
always
fun.
want to root for the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a perfect world, does anybody disagree? In a perfect world, OpTic loses and Cloud9 and Rocker both win. Obviously, any OpTic fans in the comments, you were like, hell no, what is this guy talking about? I do not want that. But if we're rooting for chaos in terms of champs, like I want to see OpTic lose in round one. And then I want to see Rocker and Cloud9 somehow both win. And it's like, oh my God, both of them have a chance to make a run, and OpTic have to win some matches here. Because with that said, OpTic fall down to one of the two toughest, if not the toughest, losers round one teams in the Carolina Royal Ravens if they do lose. They don't get to fall down to Falcons or LAG. They fall down to Carolina, who have been playing poorly lately, but they're certainly a more capable team that could pull off a win against you,
Yep.
especially Slasher and Teach. They have a lot of experience beating OpTic.
I sure do.
Boy, should we go? Let's go to losers round one first, huh?
Let's do it.
We got Minnesota, we got Boston, Breach. Minnesota fighting to keep their champs' hopes alive, keep their season alive. Boston down in losers for, I believe, the first time this year. Brad, where are you leaning on this one?
You know where I'm leaning this one.
I'm
I'm
assuming that
taking
means
Minnesota.
Rocker.
Yeah. Round 5. Or
Rock, I'm
game 5.
gonna guess you're taking Rocker as well. I have a feeling.
Oh, you know you want to.
Yes, but I'm kind of hesitant because who knows what I'm gonna see about who's gonna choke and stuff like that. But I will take Rocker in a game 5 win to get some momentum.
You're a beautiful man, Brock.
Yeah. All right, I need to stop Brad from going any further. I don't want to hear anything crazy, so I'm gonna move Rocker on. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna take Rocker. It's basically like the team I want to root for versus the team that I just like hate watching for whatever reason. Although I'll say it again, I've been saying it a lot here, and I'll say it again. Purge deserves a shout out because he has been playing
Yeah.
really well. Purge deserves a shout out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been critical of Boston. I've been critical of Purge. I've been critical, just overall, and Purge has been very good. Like
Yep.
he's been really good as of late. Like you could even make an argument like he's been their best player because I mean Snoopy has just not been that good as of late. Like early in the year, Snoopy was like really good, and he was the reason why Boston was competitive. Snoopy just overall has just not been impressing me, and I'm trying to sort here. So I want to see Purge's overall KD in the major 4 qualifiers. What was he at? I'm guessing it was still like a 0.9 something, a 0.93, but overall like Snoopy was at a 1.01. Overall, Purge is having a lot more pop off maps and not as many maps. It seems like, at least on the surface, where it's like God, like it just looks horrible for him. Like he's at a 1.01 in hardpoint, and he's been
Mhm.
playing really well. So shout out to Purge, even though we have Boston getting eliminated here. Like they are a scrappy team that can just like take random maps off you that you don't expect, win random series you don't expect, and Purge has been playing a lot better as of late. So I want to give him a shout out.
Yep. And they're a good search team, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, they're a good search team. Yeah, I would agree with that one for sure. All right, we've got Surge versus Falcons for our next one here.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't think this is necessarily much of a conversation here. I expect Surge to
3-0.
affect our time with the 3-0 here.
Yeah.
Brad, any disagreement there?
Nope, 3-0, 100%.
I mean, I think this next series is going to get like shockingly interesting. I'm going to go continue to hope for the chaos, and I'm going to pick C9 to win this. But like, I think like this is going to be an oddly close like 3-2.
You think so?
Yeah, because LAG have impressed me in hardpoint. They've been at least pretty good at
That's
hardpoint,
valid.
and with this new roster in this last stage, I think they're gonna like find a way to win like a map 1 or a map 4, depending. I think they're gonna win some other map in there, probably not control. I think LAG is gonna win like maps 2 and 4. I think it'll go like they'll split maps. It'll go C9, then LAG, then C9, then LAG. And then it goes to a game 5. I think Cloud9 ice up in the game 5, keep their champs' hopes alive. But I think it's gonna be like a weirdly close match that LAG like kind of is surprisingly competitive in.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that. I had
Yeah,
the same exact 3-2.
Oh, I had C9 and 3-0.
It definitely could happen. I mean, it's LAG. They
Yeah.
could easily just lose 3 straight maps and bow out. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be like weirdly competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the HP will. I think the HP will be competitive, but I don't. But if LAG loses that HP, I don't think they win a map.
The map 1.
Yeah, if LAG wins the map 1 HP, or if they don't win the map 1 HP, then I think C9 3-0s. I think they take
Okay.
both the search and control.
Yeah, I think they're definitely gonna win the control. Like LAG, they. My thought is like, yeah, if they don't, they're not winning the control, in my opinion. So if they don't win one of those first two maps, it's a 3-0. But I do
Mhm.
think that they're gonna win the map too. So,
Mhm.
um, I'm gonna say a 3-2,
Um,
but
yeah.
I hope
I kind
Cloud9 wins
of
this to at least keep it interesting.
I kind of hope Cloud9 goes down 0-2 and Cloud9 makes a reverse sweep to stay alive.
Get some
Yeah.
momentum going for the next match, which they'll
Mhm.
potentially be playing OpTic and trying to help themselves out. Like odds are, like it's somewhere in here, Cloud9 is probably going to play OpTic and be able to help themselves out, unlike Rocker.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next match, OpTic versus Carolina. OpTic absolutely needs a win here because every win for OpTic in this tournament just makes it so hard for the other teams. Because, like we said, like best case scenario for either of the teams chasing them is Rocker. The easiest way for Rocker to make it in. I say easiest because it's literally like the the least wins they have to get in would be Rocker getting fourth and OpTic getting last. So that's not very easy. Basically, Rocker have to make Sunday and OpTic has to get last. So
hmm
just one win here makes it that much harder. Rocker have to go another round further and get a third. So do you think OpTic gets it done here? I will say I do. I do think OpTic gets it done. Carolina just has not looked good since the roster change.
Yeah, ever since they said we good over here, not been good for Carolina.
Mhm.
I pick
Yeah,
Optic 3-1.
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, I think OpTic. Yeah, I think this is 3-1, 3-2 somewhere in there. But I got OpTic. Let's go. Let's finish out this losers round here. We got Rocker, Surge. Unfortunately, I think
Oh
the end of
man.
the road for Rocker. It's just as much as I want to pick the move on, their road, regardless, is so hard because if they do end up winning in winners round one, they probably get Thieves. Uh, Otherwise, they get Boston and then loser of Surge Thieves most likely because whoever loses that is going to be Falcon. So their road is probably Boston and then either Surge or Thieves, or if they win, it's Miami and then Surge or Thieves. So like Rockers run is just very tough. Like I just don't see them winning. So I've got Surge beating them probably 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm on board with you. I think they're just gonna do what they did to Rocket this weekend, 3-1.
Brad,
Yeah, 3-0 Surge.
So just another
Unfortunately.
level ahead of
Yeah,
Rocker.
they're just on another planet right now in
yeah, I
comparison.
mean, with that said, online, Rocker should have been up 2-1 on them with a chance to close it out. So maybe there's some hope there. I hope there is to just continue to make it interesting. But I don't know how, in good faith, you can really pick. Surge have been to back-to-back finals, and Rocker just have never been able to put together a consistent performance,
Yeah,
really, at all this year.
we're definitely gonna need like a Kenny 2.0 masterclass series for them to win this.
Really, the funny thing is, I actually trust Kenny to be consistent and mostly Geo. I just need the subs to do something consistent for me.
Yeah,
I feel like you're gonna need a masterclass out of Nero and Estriel to win some
Yeah,
matches and make
100%.
a run here.
yeah. Nero is so up and down, like it's always been. Just, 30 and 15, or next team 15 and 30.
Yeah. Then our last hope on the bottom here, our last hope for the champs race to be alive would be New York to take out OpTic. I do not think they do so though. I have OpTic taking out New York in a 3-2. I think it's gonna be a close series.
I also have Optic and a 3-1.
Brad,
Well, shoot,
yours
I'll
will
take
not
the
affect
3-0
it.
then. I'll take the 3-0 Optic.
You got OpTic though, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we're back up to the winner side. On the top, we've got Miami versus Thieves. Miami a chance to make it into the winners final. We've seen them beat Thieves before, just online most recently in this split. Brad, where you leaning on this one? You love Miami, so we'll go with you first.
And on my bracket, I have Miami 3-2.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that's gonna happen?
Honestly, yeah. I think LAT definitely takes the control. I think Miami takes map 1 HP. Um, Thieves will probably take the search, and then Miami's gonna win the comeback down 2-1, win it.
Okay.
Super and Rancor legacy.
Okay. I want to get my thoughts last, Brock. You can go ahead.
Oh, God. I'm not gonna get
Honestly,
flamed.
when I think of Miami Thieves, I just think Miami's a contender. I just think Thieves in the end, they're just gonna 3-0 'em.
Think so?
Yeah, I think they're gonna 3-0 'em.
I just think Miami has so much momentum right now, and like I understand LA is an extremely talented team. I just think Miami's playing out of their gourds right now, and I don't know. I think they're gonna carry it on into Major Four. I really do.
I mean, I don't disagree. Just Thieves are
Here-
just on another level. I just think.
I agree with what both of you are saying. I think you're
Mhm.
both like I think what you're both saying makes sense. My thing is like I think there's like two distinct ways. If the series goes one way, it's like, oh my god, Miami is like it's perfect for them. If the series goes the other way, it's like, oh, it's perfect for LAT. I just
Yeah.
don't think, as weird as this sounds, they're the more experienced team. They're the team probably with the more ice. But like, as weird as this sounds, I just if you're LAT, I think you need to close this out before it gets to a game five. Like this team, since they've added Super, Miami has just been so good, and Super has been like the best S&D player in the game since he was added to the roster.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like, I just think that if you're LAT, you just can't let this go to a map five.
Yeah.
Even though you have LAT and you think LAT is going to win, Brock, would you agree with that? Like, if this goes to a map five, I actually lean Heretics if it goes to a map five.
Yeah, I mean, game 5, anything can happen. So yeah, I don't doubt it.
I I do think Thieves are going to close it out in 4 though.
Okay.
I think they're going to, but I don't like. This is the least confident I felt in picking Thieves for the most part over like a not phase this season because like I said, I think it is dangerous for Thieves if it goes to a Mat 5 because this Heretics team, I mean, they did it to them through 2 searches earlier, like in this split online. Like it's just scary for them. So we're dropping Heretics down into losers, but it's certainly possible they can win. I don't feel super confident in that one. And then we've got FaZe versus Ultra. Ultra looking to make it to another Sunday guaranteed here if they win this. FaZe obviously looking to go get some revenge on Thieves. What are we thinking here, Brock? What are we thinking here?
I'm thinking, FaZe. I just think FaZe, has Ultra's number
Mhm.
for the most part.
You really threw out all CDL.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Besides, Cold War, they had a couple win here and there.
Yeah. Are you in the
But
same boat, Brad?
other than that, I'll give Ultra one map,
Okay.
3-1.
Yeah.
You're in the same boat, Brad?
I'm in the exact same boat. I think Ultra is gonna come out and take the map 1, and then I think FaZe is just gonna take the search and then the control, and
I think
then the
FaZe
hard
are going to
point.
get 3-0. I think they're
Yeah.
going to get 3-0. I think they're going to win. With that said, though, like there's a world where Ultra does pull out the upset because they are a very good team. But it's I definitely lean towards FaZe in this one, and that gives us honestly like that gives us some awesome matchups though
Mhm.
in that losers quarters to make it into Sunday. We get the Surge versus Ultra, which is just always a banger. They're kind of right in there. Like it's like you've got your top two, your Thieves and your FaZe, and then that next mix of 3 teams for a while now has been Surge, Ultra, and Miami in whatever order. Whenever they play, it's always just like I feel like I know that a banger's coming.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. I'm really excited for this matchup. I think Vancouver is going to get it done. I think they're going to knock Toronto out without making a Sunday, and Toronto's going to be really thinking about their decisions between the Merc and Beads thing. I have Vancouver, but we obviously got to. You guys can overrule me if you both think Ultra, but
I
I
mean,
got Vancouver.
it doesn't matter what Brock thinks. I think Vancouver.
Wow,
Wow.
Rocky's calling you out.
I
I mean,
overrule.
I have Vancouver as well, but I have
Oh,
in a close game 5.
I was really hoping you go Toronto.
I will say the one thing I think, like, I don't know, just based on like Brock knows this. I randomly get like a little spidey sense about random tournaments, and like last tournament, I didn't pick it, and I should have. I was like, I don't know, I'm feeling the phase early upset, and like just like random things like that. Like you can just kind of feel if you've watched enough COD, and like a team has made a bunch of runs in a row, like they just don't consistently do it because it's so hard to make consistent runs to like finals or to Sundays or whatever. And like, there's just a weird feeling I have about Surge in this tournament. We have them losing in round one, and like at this point, they've already had to play, their winners match and two losers matches, and they're playing a good ultra team. Like, I have a weird feeling that Surge like could lose this and like fall short of a Sunday. Obviously, we're moving them on because you two picked them. I am picking them as well. I think they're gonna win, but I don't know. I have a weird feeling. Weird feeling that like I don't know, they're just gonna potentially lose it just because it's hard to continue making the run. And
Yeah.
two Sundays in a row, not only two Sundays but
Mhm.
two finals. And then we got Miami versus OpTic. Obviously, at this point, OpTic pressure off. They've made champs based on our bracket, and I do think this is the end of the road for them. I think Miami is just a better search team, and I think Miami will find a way. If it goes to a game five, I like Miami. I like Miami just to win this series overall. I think they beat OpTic here in a 3-1.
I like it. I have Miami winning as well. Up to, make champs.
Yeah, job is finished in terms of at least making champs, and you got a lot of work to do. But if you're OpTic, you're upset with the top six, but at the same time, hard to be upset because you did at least make champs, so you're at least alive for that.
Yeah.
Brad, are you in agreement with Miami on this one?
You better believe it.
All right, and that makes it a fun Sunday. I'm not gonna lie, that makes it a very fun Sunday. Miami and Surge down there, and then we got the Red Wedding up top, LAT and Atlanta phase.
Yep.
Brad, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're picking Miami over Vancouver and loser semis.
Wow, it's like our minds are connected or something.
And I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm feeling mine.
Rock Vancouver.
Man, it's a tough match.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
the top six that we have in this is a tough bracket to pick. Like, I really can see, especially those final four teams down in losers quarterfinals. Like,
yeah.
I can see that going any way. I could see any combination of those four making it through.
hmm
Like, if OpTic were to upset Miami, I wouldn't be completely surprised. And obviously, if Ultra beat Vancouver, I wouldn't be completely surprised at all.
Yeah. I think I'm more leaning towards Vancouver Surge in, a tight, close match. Game 5, all maps are close. And I think 04 is going to go crazy.
I can see that. Think I'm gonna side with Brad on this one though. Miami have just been too good this split, even though it's been against some weaker teams. I do think that is something to note. I just can't go against Miami in this one. Like I said, I think Surge have been awesome. They made back-to-back finals. I just feel like they're gonna run out of a little bit of gas here at this one. Like, so I'm gonna vote to move Miami on, and we'll move them on. But I don't know. I think Surge are just gonna run out of gas. Miami's been so good in Surge. I think that's gonna be their backbone in this one. I think they're gonna win it in a game five.
I like it. Like it.
That leaves
It's
us with the
honestly like a
Red
toss
Wedding.
up.
What are you gonna say?
It's
What'd you say?
honestly it's just like a toss up.
It's so hard.
Hard to
Surge have
predict
been the
these.
team that's made it like to the back-to-back finals, but Miami looks a little better right now. It's toss up. Truly a toss up.
Yep.
Uh, which is kind of what's happening on the top here. And there's a lot at stake because like I still believe like LAT wins this tournament. Scrap is probably winning MVP unless Hydra has like a crazy, crazy performance because Scrap is probably the MVP for that team, I would say, among the community and like the voters.
hmm
However, if like Hydra has like a crazy tournament and goes off and wins MVP of this tournament and they win it, you have a real conversation. But I feel like if they win it, just based on recency bias too, since they won the last two tournaments, somebody on Thieves between those two is going to win MVP. If FaZe win it, then obviously um, you're looking at probably Celium, I would say. If not, it would be Simp after that, but most likely Celium would be winning MVP in the case. It's probably down to Scrapper or Celium. Because in this case, Miami would be the other team that would win it. Even if Miami won, I don't think anybody on their team is getting MVP. But Red Wedding, boys, where do you lean? FaZe or Thieves, Brad?
Phase.
You got FaZe?
Yeah.
Think so? Even, I mean, Thieves probably look a little better right now, but we didn't get to see him play the last major. Unfortunately, even though Thieves were able to get the win, FaZe kind of bowed out early there.
I just like I do think LAT is going to win the control, but I think like LAT is by the best control team in the game.
Yeah.
I just feel like you get the boys on land, like that you had their rough tourney. You had their rough tourney. They're gonna come back on this one. They're gonna be shooting. The boys will be shooting. Trust.
Okay. Brock, what do you think?
This is like, man, I kind of want to lean towards FaZe, but at the same time, it is the hardpoint struggles, and it's not like Thieves is a terrible search team or control team. I just have more faith right now in Thieves in a close match.
I agree. I have more faith in Thieves. I think they are going to get this done and beat FaZe in the winners final and move on, which drops FaZe down into our losers final to play against Miami. And what are we thinking here? What are you thinking here, Brock?
Thinking FaZe wins this and gets back to finals.
Brad, is that where you're leaning to? Or are you going
Yeah.
for your Miami boys?
I think Miami gets dropped a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
FaZe are going to come out of that final and 3-0 them pretty hot.
yeah. Unfortunately.
All right, that gives us the Red Wedding rematch. A good run for Heretics though. Like if Heretics is able to get into the top 3, like in a perfect world, I hope that Surge, Ultra, Heretics probably our next 3 contenders besides this top 2. I hope one of them wins this event because it's going to make it way more interesting for champs. And the other difference this year, actually, we'll talk about this after. That'll make it interesting. We'll talk about this after in just a second after we make the final pick. We'll end the podcast with that. Thieves phase. I think that, man, I think the FaZe are going to get their revenge. I think they're going to lose in that winners final, but they're going to come back with some momentum after beating Heretics, and I actually think they're going to get it done and get their 3rd win on the year. And just they're just going to pull off the upset over Thieves right now, coming out of losers bracket.
That's not a bad idea. I think
Brett,
it's
what are you
gonna
leaning as
go.
well?
I mean, I really want to pick FaZe, but I think I'm gonna pick Thieves. Close games, game 7 close.
Give
Close
me another game
matches.
7.
And so that's ties the on the season 2-2 for wins for both of them going into champs.
Brad, are you thinking that way as well? You thinking Thieves, or are you thinking FaZe? You're the
Nope.
deciding vote for who the winner is.
Oh, I'm going FaZe. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So we have FaZe, but it sounds like we're gonna have. I think just based on the way that this bracket shakes out and how many close matches are
Yeah.
just built into this, I think like if we do our individual brackets, we're gonna have some differences. Like there are a lot of
100%.
close matches just built into this. So
Yeah.
many matchups. Just I mean, really from like losers round 2, from like top 8 on, there are just so many matches that could be so close. You could even like there are a lot of ways. Like a lot of times in winners, there's a pretty clear top 4, and it's just a matter of if they win. And this one, it's like OpTic Ultra, you could pick either way. Really, Thieves Surge, you could pick either way. Maybe you pick the upset for Rocker or Cloud9. Into losers, like Sunday could look really different because realistically, like with the way our losers quarters is there, like you could pick Ultra over Surge and OpTic over Miami, and everything looks completely different on Sunday.
Yep.
Like it's going to be a very interesting tournament. What I will
Mhm.
say though is I wanted to look here. So we have, where is it here? What are the dates of champs? I want to see the exact date because that's something really interesting in comparison to previous years. Usually it's like you have like the final tournament, you have like a week off to prepare, and then it's champs. Um, so this year, champs is June 26th to the 29th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a
So,
couple
I
week
mean,
break.
like a month
Yeah.
because it goes the final of Major 4 is May 25th. The start of the of Chance is June 26th. There's a month between the final tournament and
Crazy.
Champs. That's very different because usually it's like let's say in our situation here in our scenario here, FaZe are winning the final major. Like FaZe win the major, there's like a week of practice and they just carry the momentum straight into the next tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen historically, I mean, I don't want to go go back and think of like every example in my head, but like Brock, you know this. Historically, the team that wins the tournament that happens like a week or two before champs, at the very least, makes a very good run. Not every single time, but they a lot of times win or like make it to top three, top two.
Yeah.
Like historically, that teams that wins that last event has so much momentum, just like a week or two away. I mean, just in recent memory, um, we saw what OpTic didn't technically do it. Theirs was weird last year. They won Major 3. Thieves and Vanguard for sure did it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think did New York do it or did they not win the last major
New York.
in MW2? They
Yes.
win Major
They
4?
they yeah, they won first and last major and the
Yeah.
champs.
Yeah, they went back to back. FaZe, I don't believe actually did. I think somebody else won Major 4 in that one. I'm trying to think. I think Empire won the last online into it. I
Yeah.
know like Envy in BO3, they did it. I think OpTic might have done it in IW. In World War II, TK won the last playoffs, and then they went and got second, so they made a deep run. Just overall, I mean, you get the point. Like overall, like a lot of teams that win that tournament right before champs, they go on to make a very good run. Doesn't happen every single time, obviously, but they go on to make a very good run. I wonder if that changes here because it's not like a short little time period where you're the best team in the game and you just come back, another week or 14 days later and you get to play right away again. Like this time, we're looking at like a month break. Like it
Yeah.
could change a lot of things.
Hmm.
And
Very
honestly,
well
it kind of
could.
sucks in terms of content. It's like, okay, we're ready for champs, and like, what are we doing this year? Why are online matches over in May?
That's a very good question.
Like, what do we see this time last year? We were going into Major 3 weekend, like the Major 3 tournament. Now this year it's a Major 4,
Yeah.
and like, it's like, oh, the season's just as long because champs is at the end of June, and it's like, well, we're also just like missing a month of matches in between those two. Like, I don't know, just an absolute fumble by the CDL, probably trying to save money. Um, but
Yeah,
just
most
very
likely.
confusing, very confusing to me that there's just a month break between the final major and then champs,
Yeah.
especially for those teams. Like for the 4 teams that don't make champs, they're just like sitting there working on EWC rosters or what?
I would assume so, yeah.
Because like otherwise they just have like a week off, they watch champs, whatever, and they kind of get on with the next thing. And now it's just like, okay, well, we just have to sit here for a month, and our team is chalked because we're not in champs. So okay, cool. Can't really start working on your roster for next year because like obviously the 8 teams that are in champs, all their players are not free agents. So like all 32 of
Yeah.
those players plus any subs they may have are not available for you to negotiate contracts with. So you can't even really get a head start on roster mania. It's weird.
Yeah. Definitely odd.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But we're obviously we did the compare in the beginning, so I got nothing else if you guys are ready to wrap this one up.
Uh, yeah, got nothing else. Hopefully a very good major, like
Yeah.
always.
I'm excited. I think a lot of high quality matches are gonna be played this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for the champs chaos to at least make it through into late Saturday at the very least.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Can't believe we're here. Another regular season in the books. Next time we're talking to you, the regular season will be over. Another one in the books. Appreciate all your support throughout the year. A lot of milestones hit again this year. A lot of changes in the pod. A lot more changes to come. Don't know what we're gonna do for a few weeks between champs and or between Major 4 and champs, but we'll figure some stuff out. Maybe some like year long kind of wrapping up stuff. Maybe some drafts for champs and all that stuff. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, and we will see you guys next week after the major.